everybody, and welcome to another edition of Magic Mics, proudly sponsored by CoolStuffInc.com, CardHoarder.com, Alter Sleeves, Cardamajigs, as well as Twitch subscribers and Patreon supporters like you. I am Evan Irwin, and we get started each week by saying hello to my two co-hosts, MTG Nerd Girl.
Hey, guys.
Ruben Bressler.
Hello, good evening.
It's another wonderful Thursday.
That's right.
We're going to kick it off with our first pick in our giveaway. Get your chance at a $50 gift certificate to CoolStuffInc.com by typing !raffle in the chat, but subscribe first to get 2 chances to win. And don't forget our raid at the end of the show to support a member of the community. Enter your suggestions at the end of the show to see who we might raid tonight. This is all thanks to our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, where you can find cool stuff in stock every day. It's great. But what is also great is Innistrad, because we got our first look ever this week for the first pick, of course, being Innistrad Midnight Hunt and Innistrad Crimson Vow, which we get to see a little tiny bit of, like a little sliver. So we're gonna split this up a little bit. We're gonna go through Wizards' official article, and then we're gonna go through the rest of the previews they don't include in the official article. I don't know why, but they don't. So we can bring that stuff up. Did you guys get to watch any of the presentation or whatever? Or is this all just hitting you brand new?
Well, I wasn't watching the stream. I was paying attention to the Magic Mike's Discord, waiting for people to post screenshots and thoughts and opinions and stuff like that. So I was not listening live.
I did not see it either.
Didn't? All right. So all this is new stuff to you at this point?
I mean, I've seen some of it. I was not watching
Well, they started off with what the children would describe as a banger. Infernal Grasp is a magic card. Infernal Grasp is a black and a generic mana for an uncommon instant that says destroy target creature, you lose 2 life. This is the best 2-mana removal spell of all time.
That is a wild first salvo over the bow.
Oof.
Unconditional destroy target creature. I mean, with the Thoughtseize drawback of 2 life at instant speed, just be thankful it's an uncommon. Because, the old story back in the day is, the question was, why is Thoughtseize a rare? It's the best card in the set.
Right.
It's going to be tough to be the best card in the set if you're not Infernal Grasp, I feel.
I agree.
Magic has changed a lot since the days of Doomblade and Go for the Throat being the premium removal spells. Mm-hmm. We now have Power Word Kill, for example, which is, the best removal spell in the D&D set. And so there's a lot more pressure on this slot. But man, 2 life is not a lot of life to have to pay to get instant speed 2-mana removal.
I agree with that. This is definitely going to be very first pickable and limited for sure.
Yeah, this card is just, this to me, they raise that bar just a little bit. Every year, every set, you come out. So if we're going to talk about a raised bar, say look, Thoughtseize, the best discard spell ever. Infernal Grasp, one of the best 2-mana, if not the best 2-mana removal spell ever. Keep your swords to plowshares, I get it. But seriously, 2 life, kill that thing is amazing. Well, look, what's better than a shock than a better shock? Play with Fire is 1 red mana for an uncommon instant that deals 2 damage to any target. And if a player is dealt damage this way, you scry 1.
Yeah. That's good. It's good. It's fine. It's not great. It's not as great as Infernal Grasp.
I'm a lot happier with this than Shock,
Well, sure. We've had better Shocks, though. We've had Wilds. Yeah, we've had Wild Slash. We've had, we've occasionally had better Shocks. Certainly this is better than that. And scrying 1 is, it's like a third of a card, half a card. So that's always nice. You're rarely going face with this, I would imagine. But, it's still a nice option to have.
Yeah, definitely. And then the Wild Grasp or whatever, that's the card that went out of stock and became a $17 uncommon or something at some point, and everybody was
Wild Slash became the most popular removal spell in Pioneer for a while.
Everybody was just memeing on Twitter about here's one for you. You could just play a shock. It's obviously not as good, but it's also not $20 or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it got really dumb there for a minute.
When you're playing a mono red deck and you're playing against a creature deck, all you really want is a shock. So this is just a shock. That's fine. If you're playing against a control deck where they don't have creatures, you're going to go face. And so being able to fix your draws and not get flooded out is useful. So the tiny little bit that they put on it is relevant. it's just nowhere near the paradigm shifter that Infernal Grasp is.
I mean, look, back in the day, like what you would always say and kind of, I don't know, make fun of is not really the right term, but sort of the stereotype would be the bad player plays a mountain, lightning bolts you, and says go, right? Well, if I play a mountain and I play with fire at the end of your turn so I can see if I'm drawing the land I need or get rid of the land I don't need, you don't look so dumb anymore. Like, land, play with fire, scry, whatever, go. It doesn't look as dumb as, just land, lightning bolt, go.
Well, yeah.
But it's kind of cool. It's neat, right?
It's great.
And play with fire, like showing a play with fire on top, that's just good, clean living right there.
Pretty fun.
That's fantastic. Well, we also have what has to be one of the best jokes of the set. Champion of the Perished instead of Champion of the Parish, of course. And for 1 black mana, it's a 1/1 rare zombie that says whenever another zombie enters the battlefield under your control, put a +1/+1 counter on Champion of the Perished. Do expect zombies to be a thing. I think, definitely werewolves are a thing. Something about werewolves they're not showing us right now. So maybe they changed what makes them flip or something. Not sure. But hey, zombies. And this is also the Buy a Box promo. Is that right? If I recall that correctly.
I think so. I saw a different art for it.
There was a promo. It's the Buy a Box promo.
Nice.
Right there on screen.
I mean, Champion of the Parish, obviously human soldier, 2 very relevant creature types, and is a central part of the humans deck in Modern. Mm-hmm. This is not a soldier for some reason, but I think that it is gonna be just fine just being a zombie. I always like it when zombies is good. Probably won't be as pushed as either vampires or werewolves because that's what we're doing here in Innistrad, but it's nice to see. And the reference is great. I mean, it's the same guy. He's wearing the same pauldrons. He's got the same tricorn hat. He's just died. And so instead of being the champion of the parish, he's the champion of the perished. It's very clever. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's funny. It's a good joke.
Yeah. How do you feel about cards like this in Limited?
I mean, that really drastically depends on the rest of the format because, I mean, the ability could be insane and super easy to trigger, or it could be absolute trash.
Yeah.
And I feel like every set has a couple of those rares that are like, more for constructed that are just not going to be getting enough payoffs in the limited format. But in general, I think they're fun.
Yeah. Champion of the Parish was fine in limited. You had Gather the Townsfolk. You certainly had a lot more humans. Right. You were pretty easily, most of the werewolves were humans. You were really reliably able to trigger it. It's not going to be as many zombies. I don't foresee a great future for this.
Well, one of the things they mentioned was that, Innistrad was gothic horror classic. Innistrad went totally weird and the Eldrazi, Lovecraftian, type horror. Well, this one's going back to the roots is what they say. Kind of the old movie monsters type stuff, which would be great. And of course, we have Fabulous. Innistrad Midnight Hunt. We have Join the Dance. Lingering Souls RIP, ladies and gentlemen, because for a white and a green mana, it's an uncommon sorcery that creates 2 1/1 white human creature tokens. And hey, Flashback is back. And hey, this is the first multicolor Flashback cost ever. How about it? Really? So for a white, a green, and 3 generic mana, who knew, right? For 5 mana, you can cast it from your graveyard and then exile it. So, okay.
That is some wild trivia. And also, this card's fine. It's a Raise the Alarm. It's a Gather the Townsfolk. The Flashback is super expensive. Lingering Souls, this is not. It's better than Servo Exhibition, but not by a ton.
Yeah.
It reminds me similar of the one in Ikoria. It was make a dinosaur and a 1/1 for 2.
Forbidden Friendship.
And that one actually overperformed because you were able to mutate onto that 1/1. Yeah. So something like this, it's going to depend on the synergies with the rest of the format, whether or not this will over or underperform. I typically do like my Selesnya decks to go wide. If there are any moderately decent white AoE pump spells, those could be sometimes really good. It's going to depend a lot on how landslidey the format is.
because the power level of this is so much lower than Lingering Souls, I have a feeling this is way better than it looks right now, because in the terms of the format, like probably 2 human tokens are going to be fantastic for whatever reason.
I feel real bad comparing this to Lingering Souls.
I mean,
I don't think that's a fair comparison.
It's a flashback spell that makes 2 creatures. Like, come on.
I understand, but they aren't flyers. I think this is much more similar to Gather the Townsfolk, Raise the Alarm, Servo Exhibition, and not Midnight Haunting, Lingering Souls.
Fine.
Right?
How cool would it be that, like, so we saw that zombie rare card. How cool would it be that it was like when a human dies, create a 2/2 zombie token? Like some triggers like that would be pretty spicy and limited.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zombies having abilities for when humans die, I think is a well that we certainly can go back to. I like that.
Well, Innistrad Crimson Vow is all about a wedding. An ultra exclusive wedding.
Fantastic.
So that's going to be really interesting. And of course, they're pumping the Magic Showcase 2021, August 24th. We're going to have so much to talk about, but we're not done because there's a bunch of cards they don't include there, like Consider. Now, Wizards is very careful about using the one-word spell names that are like, not super iconic, but certainly understood. So if you're considering EOT Consider for 1 blue mana, it's a common instant. You look at the top card of your library, you may put that card into your graveyard, draw a card. That's Surveil, if you've forgotten that mechanic.
Yeah.
And so it's Surveil 1, draw a card. Now, you don't necessarily have to have it on there, but Opt, a very similar spell, did put Scry on there when Scry didn't exist originally. So
Surveil is better than Scry, right?
I agree.
That's fairly consensus position to take.
I would say so, yeah.
So this is better than Opt? ?
I mean, Nerd Girl, do you feel that's a fair take?
I mean, it's going to be better in anytime you have like graveyard synergies or anything like that. But if it is a longer drawn out format, I would much rather have a land I don't need at the bottom of my deck so I don't mill out versus in my graveyard if I have no purpose for it. If there are things that want to, remove things like escape, then this would be infinitely better. But in a limited format, it's going to be so much more dependent. I think it's probably roughly the same in general. Based on like a lack of synergy.
I mean, clearly they expected to do well. We have a promo pack version of it.
Well, this is the easiest prediction ever. This is going to almost certainly be a top 3 card on my eventual top 10 list. This is finally going to replace the gap that was left by Faithless Looting in Blue-Red Phoenix. This is immediately going to slot into any spells deck, anything with Sprite Dragon, where you don't have access to the big beater kind of 1 mana instant speed things. This is better than Thought Scour, probably. Look, this is like the easiest home run to immediately put on a promo card that I've ever seen.
The easiest might likely just be the black removal spell. But again, you better than Shock, also a pretty easy choice. But just like it popped up on the screen here, they weren't done. They wanted to show us a Planeswalker, and by God, we got one. The sequel to Wrenn 6 is Wrenn 7. For 2 green and 3 generic mana, it is a 5 loyalty mythic legendary planeswalker Wrenn. It's got 4 abilities, everybody, and that usually means it's fantastic. +1, you're casting Mulch. If you don't remember that card, it says reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You put all lands revealed into your hand and the rest in your graveyard. For 0:, you put any number of land cards from your hand onto the battlefield tapped. -3, you make a green treefolk creature token with reach, and quote, this creature's power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control. And for -8, you return all permanent cards from your graveyard to your hand. You get an emblem with you have no maximum hand size. That's Planeswalker right there.
This card is going to be very good in Standard.
So I have a question real quick. Is Wrenn 6 scared of Wrenn 7?
Because Wrenn 7, 8, Wrenn 8.
Wrenn 9.
Hold on.
Okay, I'm done. 8. Continue. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
7,
it was just
Wrenn 8, Wrenn 9.
It was low-hanging fruit.
Right. I mean, our last 5 mana green planeswalker was a thing. It was an issue. It was very, very good. Nissa was ridiculous.
I don't think it's going to be Nissa. But immediately coming down and making a creature that can block Goldspan Dragon is going to be relevant. That's going to be pretty nice. This has a bunch of synergies. It's got 4 abilities, right? So can't possibly be terrible. The lore behind Wrenn apparently is that this is a being that plane shifts through trees, and whatever tree they wake up in wakes up, and then when they plane shift away, that tree loses its mental capacity and goes back to just being a tree. I think I need somebody call Vorthos people.
Wow, this person tree hops. All right.
It's wild. But yeah, that's the lore, I guess. So we're just going to keep counting up. And I don't know if we're ever going to see what Wrenn and 2 was. If there's any bad.
What about Wrenn and 1? What about just Wrenn? Huh?
Right. What about just Wrenn and 1?
Yeah.
How do they feel about being named, numbers? That doesn't sound great.
Now, if you, it's funny to me that the most powerful, the most important word on this entire card is reach. Like, Goldspan Dragon has done nothing but run the format. I know, Nerd Girl, you don't see a lot of standard, but let me tell you, that stupid dragon is everywhere. And being able to have a planeswalker that basically answers it is going to be fantastic.
I do a weekly viewer submitted deck list day where I play like 8 hours of viewer submitted deck lists, which are usually jank things because they like to watch me suffer. And I die to a lot of red Goldspan Dragons. Yeah. So I understand some.
Oh, that's terrific.
Certainly. And it's the best card from Kaldheim. Close. We had this discussion in the Discord. It's close with Jasper a Sentinel. In my opinion. But I've been playing a lot of Goldspan Dragon in a Vadrock Brawl deck because it targets the Goldspan Dragon and makes gold tokens when I target it with mutate creatures. Little known interaction there. By the way, it's also flying haste and just stapled full of value, and it doesn't need to do any of the other things, but it does. And this thing being able to come down, make a thing, stay in play, and protect from that best card is a huge deal.
Absolutely. So this card is sweet. Here's the extended art version, which is awesome. I love the jack-o'-lantern with the leaf cut out. Ooh. Like, I don't know what's going on there, but like, I think it has something to do with something. Also, and lastly, they showed these Eternal Night. Well, there's one other card we can talk about before we get to these lands, but so Triskaidekaphile. So they love the Triskaideka stuff, all right? We've got Triskaidekaphobia. It's time for Triskaidekaphile, a blue and a generic mana for a rare 1/3 human wizard that you have no maximum hand size. At the beginning of your upkeep, if you have exactly 13 cards in your hand, you win the game. But of course, wizards ain't done there. They got to stick on the ability that says a blue and 3 generic mana, draw a card.
I love it. I love everything about it.
This card's great. This card's fun. Right. It's silly.
It's a 1/3 because 13. It costs 3 colorless and a blue because 1 blue and 3 colorless is 13. It says 13 on it. It's just, this is what I want. This is what I want in my goofy rares.
I mean, I'm running this in any blue deck in limited just for the draw ability. Like the rest of the text box is pretty much irrelevant. I'm never really getting above my maximum hand size in limited.
You're not getting above your hand size in limited yet.
So I did sack and steal someone's Asmodeus this past week. I saw
that. I went and saw that clip. Holy cow, that was insane.
So I technically would have been above hand size, but they conceded first. So
that made me sad.
Relevant.
It was sick.
It was a good moment. That was a great moment.
So, but for the most part, this doesn't have a ton of text, but a 1/3 that helps more control-y draft decks, withstand some of the more aggressive decks, and then gives you a card advantage at the end, so it doesn't just like become a dead card later. It's pretty nice. It's an okay 2-drop that when you top deck later, you just immediately sink into draw, which is nice. So this is a good card.
I mean, cards just stapled full of value. It's amazing.
Yeah, this card is just like begging. It's to me, I am no longer surprised when Wizards creates a thing that relies on a trigger and then gives the thing itself the ability to make that trigger happen by itself. Does that make sense? There's lots of enablers on top of the enabler type thing, where I feel like, there was a world many years ago these days where that last ability was not there. It was, you get creative. You figure out how you draw cards.
It's possible you could have like a mono blue control deck that has like Teferi's Ageless Insight and Midnight Clock, right? Like that's the kind of combo we would need to put together to get up to 13. I'm not saying it's great, but I'm
saying the Eternal Nightlands, which there's one in every draft and set booster. are sick. These are extended art. These are like black and white. They got a special finish on the lining, the colored lining around them. So they got a high gloss finish on both the foils and non-foils. And they just harken back to like old school horror, images in books and things, they try to set the scene,
These look really sweet. These are like the full art lands are always nice, but these are the first ones I've really liked since like Unglued.
Yeah.
Same. Yeah, I think these are my new favorite full art lands. Everyone always is like, oh, I like the Arch Mountain from the one Zendikar set, and I like this thing. And I'm like, it's not really my speed. No. Specifically this swamp, the second swamp with like the abandoned houses is dead center my fandom, my favorite with my jam, the overgrown Avacyn like symbol, very clearly haunted place. This is exactly what I want in my lands.
I mean, this to me is just all going to be super hype for Innistrad. Like, clearly, it looks like a power level's being pushed a little bit with these ridiculously awesome spells. We're getting full art lands, which are super dope. We're going back to the original OG Innistrad stuff that, I mean, it was fantastic in the beginning anyway. I'm all about it.
Being about a wedding, having that central story arc, not only harkens back to classic vampire stories with like Lestat and Dracula and that sort of romantic horror kind of genre, but it also taps into World of Darkness, which is, experiencing resurgence right now. Vampire the Masquerade and Werewolf the Ascension ? Both came out with recent rule books for their second editions, and this is sort of tapping into that fandom as well, and makes perfect sense.
Yeah, I mean, that's for the second set. The first set, it's all werewolves all the time.
Yeah. First set's all werewolves. Second set's all vampires. And so, but like they're tapping into that also is like a third rail of fandom that they can maybe bring people in on.
Oh, yeah. So as we move out of the first pick to gather the townsfolk, I want to thank our sponsor, cardhoarder.com, offering the best inventory prices and delivery of cards for Magic Online. We're moving here to Gather the Townsfolk, where we talk about Historic Horizons. Oh boy, look. So, Nerd Girl, this is you. This is a limited thing that's just down your alley. Tell me how excited you are about this at this point.
So I haven't looked too much into it just because there's just not enough time in the day to consume all of the announcements of the announcements and spoilers upon spoilers. So I usually don't concern myself too much with it until we're a week or two out. Unless I have to
we're a week out now, so that's good.
Are we really?
Is it really only a week?
August 12th is when it comes out.
Jesus. That's way too...
That's 780 cards coming in a week.
Yeah. If it's coming out in a week, they have not spoiled enough cards. That feels bad.
They're all there.
Even the one that came out on Arena, I had 2 days to do those set reviews before the set came out when they did spoilers. Mm-hmm. That was nuts.
Wait, all of the cards are spoiled from Historic Horizons?
Yeah. Yeah. If you on MTG Goldfish at the top, there's Historic Horizons drop down card previews, which is what I've been using. Okay.
My usual go-tos for card previews have been lacking.
Yeah, Mythic Spoiler's been kind of not great, but here they do have it all sorted by Mythic Rarity and whatnot. I'm super excited about the Merfolk God making its way into Arena. I definitely want to build the Merfolk deck. I'm excited about that. I definitely want to build a Sliver deck. That's going to be awesome. I can't wait to use Archmage's Charm because that card's amazing. I mean,
Bloodbraid Marauder is the first card with Cascade to be on Arena. As far as I'm aware, a bunch of squirrels are coming, which I'm always in favor of. There's a 1-mana red 1/1 goblin that it itself has haste and gives a goblin in your hand haste perpetually, which is huge for Muxus. That is crazy. I mean, it's pretty cool.
So this is the one that's played and marketed like Jumpstart, right?
This is Jumpstart. Yeah, they're all in their own separate packs. And there's certain rares and mythics that come guaranteed, and there's a bunch of stuff that's not guaranteed that we talked about. But yeah, at this point, having the whole set out there, I mean, we have Pashlik Mons. Does that make the Goblin deck? I don't know. Parallel Lives. We have some token stuff that's going on. Nettle Cyst is fantastic. Already seeing a ton of modern play. It's going to slide right in there. You got the Enchantress stuff in there, Restoration Angels here. Oh my God. Yeah, it's
Unholy Heat is going to be a big deal.
Thought Monitor. I mean, like, there's going to be parts like they're putting in bit by bit, part by part, where like once there's just enough in there, Territorial Kavu with all the triomes, you know, it can get pretty crazy pretty fast.
There's just so much product going out there so quickly that like it's so impossible to keep up with them all.
I mean, Dragon's Rage Chandler is like a $7 uncommon or something now.
Yeah,
because that card is bananas.
I didn't realize that the whole set was previewed. This is
a lot.
A lot. It's a lot.
So getting the cards for this is going to be so expensive for those of you guys who are like, you know, diehard historic fans. Like you can only get these by playing the events. The events are very like break even. They come with no rewards. There's no like way to get your money back out of that. So it's not like drafting where you can spike some and get like a discount on your collection. You were just paying for the wild cards essentially for this. So, oh man, like,
and these have like the new like digital only stuff, you know. Oof.
So many mythics here that like if you are a jump around from deck to deck person,
that's me.
These are scary to me.
My wallet is very afraid right now.
700 cards?
783 as I recall.
783 individual names?
I think so. We
some
have
of the
cards
decks
spoiled
sharing.
here. I see 372 here as the number. And I recall seeing 700 somewhere, but now I don't know.
It might be total between the decks. I'm hoping.
I think there's 700 total cards in the set, and then there's like 100 and something new ones. A lot of them are reprints, is my understanding.
Okay. That makes sense. Sounds right.
But if you want
372... Sorry, go ahead.
A 4 of every, 130 something, whatever the new cards are, is just, and most of them have only a 33% chance to show up in the pack if you're offered the pack.
It's going to be a lot.
Full set is not spoiled, I'm being told. All of the mythics have been spoiled, but we're still missing some rares, some uncommons, and commons. 372-ish new cards to Arena. Others are already existing cards. So you won't need to craft another set of whatever to
but if it's anything like what they did for Jumpstart, they're still going to mess with you because they changed the symbol, which does not give you your gems or like any sort of protection back. So it actually forces you to take another like play set of those cards, which is sad.
I've got fabled passages in M21.
I was just going to say, I've got like 12 Temple of Epiphanies. Yeah, exactly. That kind of stuff.
But stuff like Hardened Scales making it to historic, I mean, oof. I'm very excited. I mean, just the Merfolk deck alone is just going to break me.
It's going to be cool. I mean, don't get me wrong, but it is going to be, another collection. It's just another Magic the Gathering collection.
It's just another Magic the Gathering collection. And we touched about it a little bit, but what I'm most concerned of with this release, if anything, is the future of Magic Online. If you're making digital cards that can easily go in both of your digital clients, but you only put the work into one of them, that divide is only going to get larger and larger and larger. And that's my concern.
Yeah, I mean, Bant Cube is up on Magic Online, but that's Cube is like the only thing I care about on Magic Online anymore, personally.
Fair enough. All right, and the other thing was that there's the comp rules are not being updated for the digital cards, which I understand. You know what I mean? I get it, but at the same time, it just feels weird. You know what I'm saying?
It does. It is weird, but I also appreciate that the comp rules don't want to deal with the word perpetually and conjure and do a bunch of other garbage. Because why? Why would you want to deal with that?
It's a little messed up. I mean, I expect them. I don't think it's I don't think it's crazy to say they're going to make a secret layer with the digital cards, because I think that's a thing people could want and would want because it's like silly. And why not? They already have the artwork.
Seems dangerous.
They already have all that nailed down. And it is dangerous
to do that.
But it also seems like it would make money. So
it's true.
Yeah. Just saying. So, any other thoughts on Historic Horizons, Nerd Girl, before we move on?
Oh boy, no, I don't think so.
There's so much drinking from the fire hose.
the show after it's released will maybe have a little something about it.
Well, because see, this time next week, you're going to have a whole day of Jumpstart Horizons if that's what you wanted to play. That to talk about. So
yeah, I actually already have another like a semi plan with a friend, CGB. He wants the cards but doesn't like limited, so I was like, all right, so let's do a co-op. We'll play a bunch together. I'll play on your account and just pilot. We'll pilot together. You can keep all the cards and I don't have to pay for the stupid cards I don't want.
And so betwixt them both.
Yeah.
We figured out a way. Life found a way. All right. So as we move on to Desperate Ravings, check out our altar sleeves. Let me bring up that super cool slide right there. Support the show by using the code MagicMikes at checkout for 5% off anything in the store, including a set of exclusive sleeves featuring the Magic Mikes crew at altarsleeves.com/magicmikes. As we move on here to our Desperate Ravings, we've got a few topics this week, which is a bit unfortunate in some ways. For one, Allison Steele, who now works at Blizzard, who's having their own problems, but who also worked at Wizards for a very long time. She had mentioned, and she was like, there was a thing where Gavin Verhey did a stream and went through like 100 card designs or whatever. And then she said, well, hey, there was a story about how that, she was talking about Soul Separator. That was her first ever design. She worked on Commander 2016 and whatnot. And she was doing a bunch of design work. And then here we got to the piece de resistance, which was even though she did all this design work and got glowing feedback in a discussion with one of the heads of R&D about their career and what they wanted to do, when Allison told him, of course, it's a him, that I wanted to be a full-time designer, he balked. Quote, sometimes people reach for things outside of their skill set, he told me.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot.
Yeah, we get that kind of stuff a fair amount. But before we talking about more about that, I just want to know, white light mode? What kind of monster are you?
Because
yes, Evan, the monster with light mode.
You know why? Because I don't use Twitter.com. I use TweetDeck, and that's in dark mode.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm doing this because this is like I never use Twitter.com.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. So
good call out though. Good call out.
I like the call outs though. Keep them coming. But yeah, I mean, I think you just look up patronizing in the dictionary and you would see something similar to this quote right here, where it's like, "Oh, honey, you're not the designer. We can't let you have to do this." So she left and went to Blizzard to be a game designer because that's what she's good at and what she wanted to do. And it's messed up to know that, I'd worked with her for many years at Star City, and this was her dream job to get there, and she got to work on these products, and she went to work on Magic Online because, she's doing the best she can to work through the maze of Wizards. And then to hear something like this, you talk about removing the wind from the sails.
I feel like you couldn't design a sentence more perfectly to get somebody to leave your company.
Yep.
And,
I agree with that.
Obviously I've never had to deal with this specific kind of sentence before. This is very clearly an old boys club talking to a tiny little girl in their mind, which is clearly not true. I'm always interested when it comes to issues like this I'm assuming it's a culture thing, but I don't know. It could be. And what does culture thing mean? Is it everybody, or is it like a guy or three guys, who are the poisonous source, right? And so that would be, there's no way to suss that out from where I sit, but it would be interesting to know.
It would. And ultimately it's unfortunate and it's awkward and it's painful and sad. I'm just so many like uncomfortable negative things around this. So speaking of uncomfortable negative things, let's keep going. Because next up we have the discovery that someone was selling WotC Shrinkwrap plastic.
Yeah.
Are you, for the love of God, I hope they pulled an alarm at Wizards and somebody in the legal department put the cape on and just flew out to this person's house and sued the living garbage out of them. What is happening? This was I couldn't believe this, because if you had seen or not seen a couple weeks ago, people buying Time Spiral Remastered were opening up boxes on camera, sealed boxes on camera, and all of the packs had been razor bladed and all the good stuff had been taken out and some garbage had been put back in it. And Amazon was understanding for a lot of customers, which is great, but that's how this happens. like, this is a bad. And so I pointed out, hey, it's bad, because as a business, we like to buy sealed product. Well, if all of the sealed product is now suspect, we don't want to buy any sealed product from anywhere that we don't know came from a store or distributor, because God knows what could happen to it. And Amazon puts all of the product together. They don't care if Joe Blow and Jane Blow don't know each other. They'll put all their magic boxes together. So when you buy a magic box, it goes from the magic box, section or whatever. And so this is scary. I mean, it's just straight up scary.
Is this an Etsy link? I recognize the font.
It's similar. I tracked this guy down in like 3 seconds. I'm sure Wizards could too. But it was
curious.
Gross.
So you said that they put the boxes together. So then when the return happens, who takes the hit and gets the money taken out of their account? Like, it's so hard to say where the fake product came from.
Right.
Like,
and
Wizards just like eeny, meeny, miny, moes and like punishes one particular account that maybe had like legitimate product.
In the middle of all this, Wizards has this new deal with Amazon to sell some amount of sealed product. We don't know how much, but like stores like Cool Stuff are starving for product. Like, we are having to tell customers that their pre-orders are going to be delayed because we're waiting on the rest of the product to show up. And Amazon just so happened to have product literally every day from the pre-order period, every day after the release period. And isn't that a little bit weird? So
I also think that like it's more of a direct sales. Like, maybe Amazon takes a smaller cut than some of the LGSs do from like the distributors. So Wizards is slowly possibly shifting to we sell it ourselves on Amazon. Basically, we kind of don't need you guys anymore. So they're just like cutting the amount of distributor product that they're getting. So, it comes down the chain to you guys. But that's, really scary.
It definitely is. And I mean, it's some inside baseball stuff, but like what they've done to set boosters is design it and engineer it in a way that you don't want to buy draft boosters. You can't get draft boosters during the pre-release period. You can't, it's hard to get them from the distributor. Like, they're really expensive. They're more expensive than set booster boxes, when originally that was the other way around. Set booster boxes were more expensive because they had guaranteed foils and all this other garbage. Well, no, draft boosters are more expensive because they're harder to find. Mm-hmm. That's why. That's just, it's crazy.
So a couple of links for you to keep in mind if you ever see something chicanerous like this. In addition to reporting it to the website where the seller is, you can also link the merchant and all the information that you find and send emails to investigations@wizards.com, permissions@hasbro.com, or brand protection@mm-hasbro.com. Those have all been places that have been pointed to as ways to handle this.
And Wizards did reply to me, which I appreciate, saying we're aware of this listing and have forwarded the information to the appropriate teams at Wizards. Thanks to everyone here for raising awareness. So there was a long time ago, many moons ago, Wizards was all about counterfeits and stopping counterfeiting, and counterfeiting was a serious problem. Excuse me. They don't care so much anymore. They really don't. And because at this point, they have this little security seal at the bottom of the rares and the mythics, and everything else is like, well, people are picky and use, they use tools to make sure they're not fake or whatever. But this is a whole new level.
Oh, this is way more nefarious.
Yeah, it's 100 times harder to know if this sealed product has been shrunk or not, if you let this exist. Like, ugh.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that these are being like these shrink wraps are not being sold to people. They're being sold to other criminals who will then use it. Mm-hmm. This is gun running. This is not like there's so many layers between whoever this person is and the person who would be opening the packs.
Yeah.
That this is like a hidden evil.
I know.
Go ahead.
I was just gonna say there's like a ton of issues with all of the Target packs and stuff like that. People were buying the collector boosters and then resealing them and then returning them to Target. And I knew a lot of people who would buy them and then just get like absolute crap. And it's kind of up to Target manager whether or not they're going to like take that product back, because they don't know if you did it and then returned something else or vice versa. So it's just it's just getting worse and worse. And I know they said that they were going to stop selling those sort of packs, but I'm still seeing them in the stores. So I don't really know like what's going on with that. But
the number one problem I heard that those had was somebody would take a regular booster pack and then they would take the collector booster packs and like stick them together and go through self-checkout and just like go boop, 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 boop 5 times and then drop 5 booster packs in a bag.
Well, yeah.
They boop something 5 times, yada, yada, and suddenly the store gets fleeced.
That's why they put all that stuff behind glass.
Yeah. They make you go with somebody at this point. Or maybe they don't if Nerd Girl's seeing stuff elsewhere. We don't know. Craziness. All right. So I'm not worried so much about LGS charging for tables unless you guys are.
That's a common thing. I feel like a lot of game stores charge for table space, chair space, time in the store. I'm perfectly fine with that.
There's overhead. It's not free. If you just sit there and literally buy nothing, that's kind of... I mean, disrespectful is a word. Buy a soda, buy a booster pack or something. Come on now.
It's fine.
I feel like the people who are complaining about that are the same people who buy all their stuff online and expect to have a place to play. Mm-hmm. So stores wouldn't have to do that if we supported our local stores, so we would have a place to play. And let's be honest, we all know a card store owner and none of them are lush with cash. You know what I mean? Like the local LGS. They're not Scrooge McDucking it at night with their 50
every
cent,
LGS, every single one is barely holding on.
If you're going to buy a box off Amazon, you're going to pay $2 to sit in the chair per hour, and I don't care.
It's just it's silly. I mean, it felt like a respect thing to me.
I have no sympathy. I have no sympathy for your penny pinching ways. Pay. Go to your friendly local game store.
So this cracked me up. Look, there is nothing more at this point. I've learned there is nothing more concrete than when Mark Rosewater or Gavin Verhey does some weird little cute, winky, nudgy, nudgy. Wouldn't it be cute if we did XYZ? After we're starting to see every single test card become a real card in some fashion.
Sure.
Whatever. So when someone on Blogatog asks Rosewater, are more futuristic themes still off the table for MTG like Cyberpunk and or space? And he says, we're definitely pushing boundaries more than we have in the past. So would you like a Cyberpunk or a space set? Yes. And of course they're making one. Yes. Yeah. That's why he's answering the question. It's adorable. I love it. Nerd Girl, you ready to go to space?
Sure.
Space lasers?
I'm ready for Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk.
I'm ready for Neon Genesis Kamigawa.
Ooh, yes, please.
All of that crazy laser tech and Blade Runner future fused with the fallout from the Spirit War. That's gotta be a thing that's happening.
All the modules and modifications people do to themselves and eye upgrades and stuff.
It's not like we haven't had something like this in the past. If you look back at the Weatherlight saga, that was all about spinal grafting and xenomorphology and we can make a better human out of robot parts. And
Phyrexians.
This is 25 years old. Right. This is just with new terminology and Keanu Reeves probably would be. I'm assuming. I'm hoping Keanu Reeves is involved in some way.
There you go. So, do want to send out some well wishes to MTG Young Mage, longtime fan and supporter of the channel. Rhino has been having some issues with his seizures that he's been having, which is unfortunate. There is an update from MTG_Papa Mage, which I've linked in the show notes, and I'll put it here in the chat. So feel free to visit, take a look at that, send him your well wishes, cool. and we'll go from there.
And specifically, clicking that link helps Rhino. Mm-hmm. Get more,
and his channel gets hits,
clicks on his channel
stuff.
Playlists and all that good stuff.
Nerd Girl, how much do you know about Pauper?
I've played a few games. I don't know how. So I'm not a huge EDH fan, and part of the reason I'm not a huge constructed fan is because I don't like the massive power levels. I like things that are more dialed down. So Pauper is a little bit more my speed, but I don't necessarily have a friend group or anything to play with, so I just don't have much experience, but I think I would like it a bunch.
It's broken.
Yeah, you would like it a bunch when it's not on fire.
Okay.
Yeah, they unfortunately Wizards made a storm card, the Chitterstorm, and Chatterstorm rather, and they're like, it's just fine. And all the Pauper people, literally all the people who talk about Pauper and write about Pauper, they're like, this is a dumpster fire, dear God. And so I know from experience of talking to wizards for many years was, if it looks like it's broken, you gotta prove it first, because certainly cards have been called overpowered and ended up to be crap, or they thought it was crap and suddenly got a Tarmogoyf or whatever. So it has been proven. It has been proven and reproven and proven again, and then they proved it one more time, and then they destroyed their event attendance, and then they kept it going, and then they didn't ban it. And why are they not banning things? And they banned Brainstorm. Why the hell are you not banning the Storm card? And that's where we're at. Why would you do that?
They did follow a similar pattern of Brainstorm, where they let the card exist for another cycle of bans than they maybe should have. But it did need to demonstrate that it was indeed broken and needed to be removed, rather than it being a part of a healthy ecosystem that ebbs and flows. I think that Chatterstorm has demonstrated that it is not a healthy common to have in the Pauper format, and I would be shocked if it were not banned in the next update.
Yeah. So what did it come out in?
Historic. Wait. What is that set called? The one with the diamond?
No, it's the Modern Horizons 2.
Okay.
Yeah, so MH2 I came out with stuff.
So you're saying that everything has to be proven, and that it takes a long time for them to decide to do it. I think a lot of that also has to do with it's the newer sets and we want to sell product. So everything's going to get banned. Yeah. A set behind rotation.
Usually true. And that's what they did with Hogak, but this is a common, exactly. And so I don't think that Oko, exactly.
If it's selling my current products, we'll ban it later when it's less of a problem.
A bunch of that stuff has lasted. Omnath certainly should have been banned earlier, but they wanted to sell more packs.
Right.
But with a common, I feel like that doesn't need to happen.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that the Maverick Girl is in the chat here saying they also announced an MTGO Mox showcase season for Pauper. Why would you want a whole season of broken Storm decks versus the anti-Storm deck or whatever? Yeah. Barf. All right, so that's unfortunate. But before we get to the finisher, finally check out our newest sponsor, Cardamajigs. They have themselves a Kickstarter running right now. Go to cubeks.com to get forwarded right to it. Did it pop over 300K? I haven't checked lately. It was almost a 300K last time I looked. These things are sweet. I actually have some with me right here that we have shown before, which are awesome. And this package right here with brand new artwork and stuff.
Nice.
And they are resealable booster packs for cubes or make your own drafts or make your own jumpstarts or whatever you want to do with those things.
And business cards.
Great for
316K, 3,200 backers.
Nice.
Bingo.
I am also sponsored through Cardamajigs on separately, and they sent me a bunch of stuff, and I still backed it because I want the Potamajigs. They're actually really sweet guys.
Oh, yeah, they certainly are. So that is terrific. Check those out. We appreciate them sponsoring the show. So let's turn the corner here to the finisher.
I'm ready this time.
We can do it.
Is this the thing?
With our powers combined, we're doing it.
Yeah. So, listen, you'll get it.
We got it. We can do this. Happy birthday, Magic. As was noted by MTG History on Twitter, August 5th is listed as the official release date for Magic's first set alpha. Though the official launch wasn't until later in August of 1993 at Gen Con, today is Magic's 28th birthday. Now, we're all old hats at content creation and competitive play and life in general, so tell me, if you could cast time reversal in real life, what's one thing you wish you could tell yourself on your 28th birthday? Reuben?
Well, back when I was a spry young lad and the world was shiny and new, I was full of hope, not like this decrepit old husk that I laughingly refer to my body that you see before you. So I'd give myself some practical advice. Eat better, exercise more, and sell your Imperial recruiters because they're about to be reprinted into the ground.
That's how they do. Nerd Girl?
A 20-year-old me was a far cry from who I am today. I am wiser, more successful, and let's be real, I'm better at magic. So I'd simply tell myself, hey kid, I know things are hard, but don't worry. In a few years, you too can be a co-host of Magic Mike's.
That's right. Things to hope and strive for. 28-year-old Evan Irwin knew so little about the world and what it had to offer. I wasn't even working on the Magic show yet when I was 28. That's not true, but it was close.
Oh, is it not? I was close.
It's close.
Okay.
But
I thought I did the math right, but
it's okay. It's
right.
just a couple years off. To that tiny little baby, wet behind the ears, green in the horn, and bushy in the tail, I'd say just one thing: Dogecoin to the moon, baby. And I'd have no idea what I was talking about.
Oh yeah,
but one day I would buy dog coins.
That's right,
and it worked out.
You see, there's a meme about a Shiba Inu. And then 7 years after that, there will be a cryptocurrency named for that old meme. And where are you going? Why are you leaving?
Yeah, right. I'm already not listening anymore. And that ends another live episode of Magic Mike's. Thanks for joining us here to discuss all things magic. Thank you, Nerd Girl. Thank you, Ruben.
Thanks. See ya.
You guys are great. We're going to move here to our final slide. I want to thank our sponsor, CoolStuffInc.com, our co-sponsors, CardOrder.com, Alter Sleeves, and Cubamajigs. Use the my co-host, Nerd Girl, and Ruben Bressler. You guys for watching and listening. I hope you support us at patreon.com/magicmics. Please follow, like, tweet, favorite, share, subscribe to everything social that tells people we exist. Catch us online on our Discord, twitch.tv at Magic Mics, on Twitter at Magic Mics Cast, our Magic Mics subreddit, and like the Magic Mics page on Facebook. Or join us here next week, same time, same place, for another episode of Magic Mics. Good night, everybody.